Greetings, everyone. DFG here, coming to you from the graveyard. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, guys, I just want to talk to you about a particular subject. Well, it's a broader subject, but I just want to, share some insight on, that's a statement. I'm sure you are familiar with this. And this statement goes like this: he who has the power makes the rules. Again, he who has the power make the rules. And then you say, okay, now, where are you going to take us today, Dale? What story are you going to tell, and what journey are we going to go on? Well, the journey we're going to go on today, and this message is going to be, again, directed more in terms of the Aboriginal Americans, so-called African Americans. Yesterday, I shared a video from Kimberly Daniels, who made the comment. You guys remember, if you watched the video from yesterday, pretty much said that she was proud to have been the descendants of slaves, because if it was not for slavery, black people would still be in Africa, according to her, talking to trees or praying to trees, is the way she said it. Kind of interesting when people pray to a cross, and a cross is made mostly of wood, so it's kind of a truism. Now, this is from an apostle, I might add. You know what I'm saying? This was from a minister, a congresswoman in Jacksonville, Florida, who's still in position as of today, to my knowledge. Again, Kimberly Daniels. Check out, you can find her. But she, again, made the statement that she was glad that she was descendants of slaves, because if it had not been for slavery, she and her kind would still be in Africa praying to trees. Now, we're going to talk about that. Okay? I wrote a couple of things down because I want to, typically I try to, freelance and just kind of give it to you, not shooting from the hip. I think about everything I say before I let it come out of this, off the tongue. But I did write a couple of things down because I want to make sure that I don't miss this particular statement. You know what I'm saying? And here's the first statement here, guys, is every time you call yourself African American, you are implying that your ancestors were the property of someone else. I want to say that again. Every time you refer to yourself as an African, here in America, African American, you are implying that your ancestors were the property of someone else. Now, as I see that and I think about that, my question will come back to you is, who told you that? What research did you do? Yeah, what research did you do to validate what's coming out of your mouth? Because after all, you're repeating it. You follow me? It's like somebody said, repeat after me, and you're repeating it. And if you're repeating it, then you own it. So if your ancestors were all property of someone else, mainly Europeans, but there were Native Americans who also had slaves. So if your ancestors were the property of someone else, especially, European property from slavery, coming from Africa, if your ancestors were their property, how did you validate that? What was your method of research? What books did you read? What libraries did you go to? What type of investigating reporting did you go and look into? What kind of archaeology that you use? Because if you're saying that, of course you're intelligent enough to have done the legwork to validate that, you're this descendant of property that belonged to someone else. Surely you would do that, right? Because that's what any intelligent person would do. I'm sure your European Irish friends, or your European Italian friends, or your European, English friends, French friends, surely are not claiming French, England, Irish, Italian ancestry without validating that's where they were from. I'm sure they can follow the ancestral lines back there. So here's my question to you. If you haven't did your research, if you haven't looked into it yourself, then why are you repeating that narrative? At the end of the day, who told you that you were black? Your skin is not black. And for you, I guess I want to call them the Hotep. I'm probably not saying that right. The so-called African movement people. Well, don't you know that it was Africa who were enslaved? Oh, the Hebrews here, who professed to be the children of the tribes of Israel. Don't you know that it was Africans who enslaved your people? So you are a black African from Egypt, which is in Africa, but you were enslaved by black Africans, but yet you're proud of your African ancestry. Now, maybe I'm a little naive, but something sounds a little fishy about that story. So I'm proud to be an African slave who was enslaved by Africans. Because if you're going to tell the Bible story, you got to tell the story in its totality. You can't pick and choose little pieces that serve and that meet your expectation. So if you're the children of Candace and King Tutmia and all these other pharaohs in Africa, if you're their children, then you enslaved my people. You enslaved my people, not the Europeans. You were the first enslavers. Europeans got in the game later. Maybe they learned from you. I don't know. But if you're going to tell that story in its complete African American. Because I'm not an African American. I've done my research. I've gone back and I've checked my family lineage. I've gone and I investigated, dug deep, put in the time, put in the hours so that I could be certain of who I am before I get in front of you professing to be somebody that I'm not. Like most of you guys, unfortunately, no fault of your own up until today. Because after the day, you are accountable for it. Because here's what I think you're doing. I think you're repeating a narrative that you learned in school. I think you're repeating a European narrative that they taught you in the public school system, and in some cases, the private school systems. I don't think this has anything to do with any research on your part. I think that somebody white told you you were an African slave and that you were black, and you said, yes, I am. Thank you, sir. Tell me more. That's what I think you did. And it's okay if you didn't know any better. For him to know good and do it not, I call that pretty stupid. No disrespect. I'm not calling you stupid, okay? What I'm saying, if you know better, you should do better. And I'm telling you that you're not descendants of African slaves. You are native Aboriginal people who were always here on this land, all the way back 30,000 years and beyond. When the Europeans came, by their own history, their own textbooks, they say they found you here. People of color, copper-colored people, Aboriginal, who look like people from Ethiopia. That's what they said. And then somewhere down the line, somebody got a great idea. Well, you know what? Let's take the Native Americans, tell them they're African because they do kind of resemble those Ethiopians. And then we'll tell them that they're from another place. And that way, as we take their place and take their land, take their possessions, and possess it for ourselves, we can tell them, like old Kimberly Daniels said, you ought to be grateful to your white masters, because if it was not for your white masters, you would be in Africa praying the trees. Now, look, it's your decision at the end of the day. My job is just to give you the information. It's to spark the fire. I'm not the blaze. The blaze is every one of you who cares. And all I'm saying to you, if you're going to say you're an African, Africa is a continent. Europeans don't go around saying I'm a Europe or I'm a Asia. I'm Chinese, I'm Japanese, I'm French, I'm Russian, I'm German. Countries inside of the continent. You're claiming to be from a continent. So that means you really don't know where you're from. Yet, when someone like me come out and say you're not an African, you get offended. Wow. Now that's either you're socially engineered or you're hopelessly lost, if that's your attitude. Now, of course, some of you guys like me, you woke up and now you want to know and you want to know more. And you're looking at these videos, asking for more. And I'm going to continue to give you more. But none of it matters if you don't care. We have to build a culture. You cannot build a culture from Africa, guys. You are Native Americans. at worst, Aboriginal Americans from Turtle Island in truth. At least probably 9 out of 10 of you. All right? So that's what I'm saying to you. Those who have the power make the rules. They made the rules a long time ago that you were going to be an African. You didn't have to accept it. Your grandparents, maybe they did. You don't. So now what you going to do about it? Love you guys. DFG, don't you love me? Yeah, you love me. I know. You don't think you do, but you do. Peace, guys. Love you. DFG, coming to you from the cemetery. Don't forget to subscribe, share the video, leave your comments. Appreciate you guys. Bye now.